What's going on, guys? It's Evil Eddie from Pure Evil MMA, frontproofmedia.com. Just getting settled into the studio right now after an exciting UFC Halifax. I mean, if you guys didn't think it was exciting, you're crazy. Because last week we had UFC 208, which we had to pay, $60 for? This time, it was free. So I hope that you guys at least enjoyed that aspect of it. We got to see an amazing group of fighters between Paul Felder, Ponzinibbio, Carla Esparza, the former champ. Very controversial on social media. We're going to be jumping into all that. But first, let's take a quick look at what we saw in that main event. Derek Lewis versus Travis Browne. There was a lot of beef going into this fight. Derek Lewis saying that, Ronda's fine and all that. Travis Browne getting pissed off. Derek Lewis responds, "You ain't a man, man. You ain't a man, man. Not if you're out there hitting women." And that's a thing that, a lot of MMA fans know. He left his wife for Ronda Rousey. His wife, her ex-wife, came out saying that he's a woman beater, this and that. All of that aside, I thought Travis Browne was going to be able to take out Derek Lewis with his leg kicks, with having Ray Sefo in his corner, with having the motivation behind him. He needed this fight really bad. I was very worried that Derek Lewis was kind of putting Travis Browne on a pedestal going into this fight, because let's remember, he wanted this fight. Derek Lewis called this fight out. This was what he was aiming for. He knew if he can get a win over Travis Browne, it would plant his foot in the door. Everyone was trashing Travis Browne. No one really expected him to win tonight, but I put my money down on Browne to win for many reasons. And in that first round, I was getting a little excited seeing him get those kicks to the body, and Derek Lewis even covered up for a second. I thought Browne was going to go in there and finish him. All right, we got the live chat room going. Dan Bones in there. Lombard got robbed. Frontproofmedia.com in the house. Started the show off right. Pure Evil MMA brought to you by frontproofmedia.com. Make sure you guys stay up on all your latest MMA and boxing news. Frontproofmedia.com. Dan Bones saying Carla Esparza deserved to lose. All she does is shoot. 0 stand-up plus. She's a Trump supporter, so fuck her. Gotta give Travis major credit, though. He showed a lot of heart. I like Derek a lot, but there was no need to trash him after the fight like that. Laugh aloud. All right, man, we're gonna get into all of that, and this is why I love the chat room. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's first. All right, we're gonna put a hold on that main event. Let's jump into that Carla Esparza fight. Carla Esparza going in there. She's a one-trick pony, a lot of people like to say. Stick with the bread and butter, which is her takedown game. We saw that in this fight. But in the first round, Marcos I had winning. Second, Carla. And third, it was close in that third one. I gave that one to Carla as well. Marcos having the hometown advantage. She also survived an illegal knee. Let's not forget. Carla landed an illegal knee. I didn't think it was illegal at the time. Looking back at the replay, her hand was coming right up off the mat as she ate a knee by Carla Esparza. Carla is going to do the same thing every fight. You have to expect it, and she's so good at doing it too. No one can really stop her. Here, she was ranked number 3. She really hasn't been the same since that Joanna Jędrzejczyk fight, like I was telling you guys on Pure Evil MMA this week. But I thought she was going to be able to finish Ronda. I mean, we've seen both girls in the division for a while now. I thought Carla, if she got the win, it would still be able to get some momentum behind her, but wasn't able to do it tonight. Randa Marcos winning in the judges' eyes, but not in mine. Getting back to what Dan Bones was saying, all she does is try to shoot. 0 stand-up, plus she's a Trump supporter. No comment. At least on that last part right there. No comment on the Trump supporter thing. I don't like talking about any politics here on this MMA show. That will leave to somebody else. I'm here to talk a little MMA. As for the stand-up, I don't think she did that bad. I think what really mattered in this fight was Randa made a lot of improvements from the other fights. I thought that she was able to move around and use the footwork. She wasn't able to stuff Carla, but she was able to get the win, and that's really all that matters. And I love what she had to say in that post-fight press conference. Well, that didn't happen yet, but the post-fight speech where she started bringing up bullying. To any bully out there, you're going to have your day. And that's that. You're going to have your day. There's a bunch of kids that used to get bullied in my high school. Look at them now. Their girlfriends are hotter than mine. So I'm not complaining. But then again, I was in high school. I was a football player. I was in a band. I got along with everybody. I wore all black clothes and long ass hair, but I was also a jock at the same time. So I got along with everybody. I say this a lot to all the fighters. With social media nowadays, you're seeing a lot of bullying. And these kids, if you guys aren't in school anymore, you're not realizing. These kids, they get out of school, and what do they talk about? What happened in school that day? Or they go surf onto, their social media pages and make fun of people. If you have a bad day and you get that bully mentality and people just gang up on you, and you got to go to school the next day, it can mess with a lot of people's heads. So I love when fighters bring that kind of stuff up. There's a lot to talk about there. I'll be sending out an email to Randa to try to get her on the show to talk a little more about that. We spoke with Bobby Gunn about that, who just fought this weekend as well. Shout out to him. Not winning the fight, but man, gotta love what they were able to do with the BKB pay-per-view. So, big movements in the right direction there with a sanctioned fight. All right, let's see what we got in the chat room. Dan Bone saying, plus Carla and Felice always bullied Randa in the Tough House. Well, there you go. That's definitely why she said it. Throwback to that season of Ultimate Fighter, by the way. Carla coming out of that season winning. But you know what? That fight with Joanna Jędrzejczyk just did something to Carla. It did something to Carla. I didn't think, I can't even really say that. At the time, it did something. Seeing her performance tonight, I don't think it had any effect. I think she did great. We're going to have to see what she has to say. This was huge for Randa Marcos, jumping up, taking out Carla Esparza, who was ranked third in that division. So kudos to her. Ponzinibbio winning the second and third round on my card. Talib did a great job in that first round. We have to give him that. Don't really need to talk too much about that fight. I'm always excited when I see Ponzinibbio in there. What's going on, Mike? We got the live chat room going here. Johnny's back. He kicked some butt. I can't wait to break into that fight. He looked like happy. Johnny Hendricks here, guys. I like this weight movement. I like him moving up a weight class. He didn't have to worry about weight cutting, and he was able to even move more. And he was landing the amazing knee shots on Lombard. Lombard didn't look that bad either, guys. Let's give him that. What's going on, Ill? What's going on, Ill? What's going on, Ann Hill? Thanks for joining the chat room here. Shout out to the Pure Evil Army. If you guys want to play along with us, we're always live tweeting on Twitter at Pure Evil MMA. Use hashtag at Pure Evil MMA to find the rest of the Pure Evil Army. And if you guys are missing the live show, you're listening to this right now on Apple iTunes, Podbean. It's Monday morning right now. You're on your drive to work, reliving some of the best and worst moments of UFC Halifax with us. Make sure you are following us on Twitter. We always have a blast on fight night. So that Sunday night, you're sitting there in your living room all alone, or Saturday night, which is usually the fight night. Come over to Twitter. Come talk with us on Twitter at Pure Evil MMA using hashtag at Pure Evil MMA. We're going to be announcing our UFC Pick'em winners in a minute, but let's jump back into the MMA news really quick for the rest of our listeners here who are just tuning in. Maybe it's the first time tuning into Pure Evil MMA. All right, so Paul Felder. So excited about this fight. We actually got to speak with him here on Pure Evil MMA this week. He flew out to Canada, to Halifax with Duke Roufus. Not many people knew coming into this fight that Paul Felder was going to be joined by Duke Roufus. He's training in Albuquerque, New Mexico. He's training in Philadelphia, and he's putting the fight camp together. We remember those fights with Edson Barboza. It was split. It was so close. The fight with Ross Pearson, it was so close. Paul came into the UFC as a champion. He had high expectations. Never really reached that mark that we expect. I still think the high water mark for Paul Felder we might see in 2018. He's always improving. What did we see tonight? We saw a confident Paul Felder. We saw a happy, fighting for a reason. He had motivation behind him. He told me he's going to be fighting for cancer tonight. I don't know if you guys saw his mouthpiece, but it actually says F cancer across it. So that was a huge win to anybody out there that cancer is affecting their life. So you know what a battle it could be. it sucks the life out of you, even if you don't have the disease yourself and you're a family member. I mean, this was a huge week for me, and this is why I really want to talk about this. This is why I had Paul on the show as well, because I always relate with him on this subject. I lost my stepfather 2 years ago this week, so it was a rough week for me. On Wednesday was the anniversary. He died of brain cancer, and that had a huge effect on my life. Thank God for MMA giving me something to look forward to, making me feel alive. You guys hear it in my voice. I love watching MMA. I love talking with you guys. I love doing these breakdowns. I love doing the podcast. I love interviewing the UFC fighters, even the amateur fighters. This is what gives me life. This is what I'm most proud of in my life that I do. It's destiny. But the thing is, it can end at any second, guys. Life can change at the split of a dime. You could go into the doctor this week, and you might find out you have cancer. So make sure you guys all count your blessings out there. Paul Felder going in there, getting the win. For all the people out there that were suffering, it was awesome seeing him go in there and just perform with a smile on his face. He's always so focused and dedicated. Something that you guys might not know about Paul Felder, he actually went to acting school. Bet you didn't know that. UFC released a video this week because it was Valentine's Day, and I hope you guys had a great Valentine's Day out there, of the worst pickup lines. I'm not going to ruin it for you if you guys want to check it. Go check out UFC on Twitter, and you'll see Paul Felder, or just go to Paul Felder's page at Paul Felder on Twitter. All right, McMahon versus Mazany. McMahon, I mean, what do we really have to say? I mean, for you guys out there that don't know who Sarah McMahon is, she's an Olympic wrestler, silver medalist, came into the UFC, tried to fight Ronda Rousey. The expectation was high. She was really supposed to test Ronda for the first time. What happens? She loses. And it's not like she's an awful fighter. She's able to put a fight before tonight. She got a win. And now she's on a 2-fight win streak once again, bringing up that steam. I mean, this wasn't really anything that she should have really worried about, fighting Mazany, who took 3 years off. She's undefeated. She is 4-0. And I did say in the Odd Show with Garrett from the MMA Takeover that when a fighter is undefeated, and we saw it tonight, I'll mention it in a second, in the Tucker fight, which was amazing. Cody Nola-Vasco almost. But when you have that undefeated mentality, you're 4-0, you're 5-0, you're 9-0. There's something different about what's going on up here. You're stronger. You're more confident, obviously. Now you're going in here, you're going to fight somebody, an Olympic fighter, who I'm pretty sure Sarah McMahon's in the rankings. I think she's 11th or something. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat room right now, or on Twitter at Pure Evil MMA. But if she got the win tonight, that would have been huge for her, making her debut into the UFC. We remember her from that season Ultimate Fighter, season 18, where she did lose in the qualifying rounds against Jessica Penne. So I don't know what's going to be next for her. I mean, she did take the fight on short notice. But as for McMahon, I mean, I can't wait to look at the rankings and see what they can do next with Sarah. She's on 2-fight win streak. What do you guys think? It was a great night for women's MMA here at UFC Halifax. So Elias Theodorou, the Heartbreak Kid, the Heartbreaker with the most elegant hair. He never really, and I might get shit for this, he never really impressed me on that season Ultimate Fighter or in any of his fights, really. I mean, he is a very well-rounded fighter. He's a great fighter. He gets the wins. He knows how to talk on the mic, which is very important. His energy levels all the way up here, which I love to see. I can easily relate to that. But no performances really stood out to me. Ferreira tonight arguably won that second round. I mean, he started coming back, even had Elias in some trouble here and there. The Spartan. Give your info for UFC 209. Well, guys, UFC 209 I will be talking about in just a second, so hang tight in the chat room. We'll be breaking into that in a little bit. Make sure you guys all subscribe on iTunes, Podbean.com. We also air the podcast right here on YouTube. Subscribe down below. But Elias getting the win in his hometown. He was very confident after that third round. Bell went off. He already raised his hand. He was very confident in that win. I had him win in the first, losing the second, and then the third. Decision win for Elias moving forward. I mean, the sky's the limit for that kid. He knows how to do it inside and outside the octagon. Tucker versus Sam Cecilia. Amazing footwork. Not afraid to trade. Coming back in the third, connected with the right hand for Sam Cecilia, though. The whole time, Sam was just trying to get one punch. And I said it in the Odd Show with Garrett Kerman from the MMA Takeover. Fight could end at any second. One punch from Sam Cecilia. We had to factor in also that it was Tucker's debut fight. He's coming in here 9-0. This is a step up in competition for the kid. He went in there. And once again, you have the undefeated mentality. You're different up here, right? So he goes in there. He's feeling it. He's got the hometown advantage behind him as well. Sam Cecilia was a great fight for this kid to go in there. The first time you step into the octagon, you smell the beer, you smell the popcorn, your head is nonstop, and we saw that in the first round. He was very anxious. He was moving around. I was very nervous that he was going to gas himself out there in that first round, but the footwork he was able to put together reminded me a lot of Cody Nolov in that Dominic Cruz fight. So I'm excited to see what he does moving forward here. But Sam Cecilia, man, I don't know what they're going to do with this guy. We might see them release him. I don't know how many fights he got left on his contract, but he hasn't been doing too well lately. He hasn't. He was just loading up, waiting for the right time to really give it to Tucker, and he just couldn't find that second. Tucker was going in there doing a whole bunch of flashiness, and in the post-fight speech, he was like, man, we had to play it safe. You had to play it safe? What? Did I not just see you breakdancing in there and freaking dabbing? Come on. What do you mean that's you playing it safe? What? Crazy. But I love the performance. I'm excited to see what he does next. Make sure you guys all check him out. Big prospect coming out of Canada, making a huge debut. So proud of him. Hector Lombard. This gets us into our co-main event, guys. Just seeing Tucker on the TV again on UFC post-fight show. So that's going down right now. Thanks for keeping us updated right now in the chat room, guys. I'm excited to find out what Tucker does next. So if you guys know what he says for next opponent, if he calls him out, let me know right here in the chat room and I'll get it out to everybody. All right, so moving into our co-main event, I know you guys really wanted me to talk about this. Johnny Hendricks versus Hector Lombard. What happened in this fight that we really didn't expect? I mean, everything I really expected to happen in this fight went down. Except this. We saw a new side. Or we could say it's an older side of Johnny Hendricks where he felt happy, he was smiling, he was feeling like himself, and he was really connecting the dots like he said in his post-fight speech. He started connecting the dots once again in his fight. He had no answer for those leg kicks, though. I wish Lombard used a little more leg kicks, but then again, he was open for that big overhand right. And let me tell you, we all know that Johnny Hendricks could drop you at any second, but the same goes for Hector Lombard here. Tucker will fap. Is what we're getting in the chat. I don't know what that means, Mike. Tucker will fap. Tucker will what? Let me know. Hector Lombard, though, always starts out very strong in that first round. Question was he going to be able to keep it up going into the third round? He's at this different weight class, which he actually has fought in before. Johnny Hendricks making his debut here. It's a fresh new start. He gets the win. He was moving around a lot. I like seeing that. I like not seeing the Johnny just staying there, loading up on shots. He was moving in and out. Wasn't really able to land anything special. I mean, there were really no significant shots, except those huge knees that he just kept landing over and over again in the second and third round. I mean, I thought Lombard was in a lot of trouble in the second round. He got cracked a few times pretty well by Johnny Hendricks, and Johnny loved every second of it. You go in there, you put on a performance like that against Hector Lombard, you're winning a lot of love back from the fans because he missed weight how many times in that division, in that weight class? I mean, this is the former champion, guys. This is the guy that I told everyone he was going to beat GSP. I was watching that fight. I thought he won it. Apparently he lost. GSP retired. Like Carlos Esparza, he was never the same after that fight. Wasn't really able to put it together. Well, now he changed weight class. He doesn't have to worry about the weight cut. He was able to move around more. Mike's tablet is possessed. So that's why Tucker is going to be fap. Mike's fat finger, he meant to put far from Tucker. Mike's tablet is possessed. Well, you know what? If you're using a Droid, I'm not surprised if the tablet's possessed. Shout out to Apple on that one. Send the checks my way. Johnny Hendricks, though, moving forward, what is he going to do here? I mean, that's a crazy weight division. I mean, you got to be careful. Do you guys think, here's my question to you, and let me know on Twitter, in the chat room, on Facebook, wherever you want to. What do you think Johnny Hendricks is going to do next? Do you really think that he can become champion in that weight division? Let me know on Twitter at Pure Evil MMA. and on Facebook at Pure Evil MMA, on Instagram at Pure Evil MMA. Let's jump right into our main event of the night. Derek, the Black Beast Lewis, going up against Travis Browne. And man, Browne's really got to be upset right now. I mean, he's really only lost to championship fighters. He's only lost to Cain Velasquez. He's lost to Verdum. Both these guys in the first round of their fight, well, maybe not for Cain, but they all tried these crazy moves. I mean, remember the Verdum fight? He came out with that front kick that actually landed on Travis right off the bat. And then the fight with Cain at UFC 200. Cain lands a freaking spinning heel kick. What? Well, tonight we actually saw Derek Lewis try some of that as well, trying spinning kicks, which I can't wait to go look back on. I think it was a little risky, but that might have been his plan to try to bring Travis Browne in so he can really lay it into him, and it worked. The first round, let's start from there. The very first round, the Black Beast. Wow, what a fight. Thanks, Andy. Yeah, it really was an amazing fight. I'm not going to lie, though. I was so worried in that first round for Derek Lewis. I did put my money down on Travis Browne tonight. I wanted that dog money. Thought Travis Browne was going to be able to do it. I thought he was going to be able to use that front kick. I thought the change in the camp, having Ray Sefo in your corner. And look what we saw in that first round. We saw a beautiful execution by Travis Browne using that front kick right to the belly of Travis Browne. He did. He stands up to his name. He was a beast. And you know what? His post-fight speech was something to really laugh about. We're going to get into that in just a second. But yeah, he tried the spin kicks. Wasn't really able to get inside in the first round and was taking it to the belly. Travis Browne hurt Derek Lewis in that first round. I think he possibly could have finished him. He was nervous, though, because it only takes one punch from Derek Lewis. You start coming in, you get clipped, and we saw how the fight ended. It's all over. But you know, he was doing a great job in that first round, breaking him down. Still think he could have finished it. Going into the second round, and this is what I love to see. This is what you see in championship fighters. This is what you see in legends inside the cage. A fighter who's able to come back. Has a horrible first round. We saw Derek Lewis holding his hand, holding his stomach. I was like, you know what? This is kind of strange seeing this. Is it going to end on this note with Derek Lewis holding his hand in pain? Because it kind of seemed like he wanted a break. But the ref's not going to call a break just because you're holding your hand. There's nothing illegal about kicking your hand. If your finger comes detached, you got to get it back in yourself, man. Unless you're getting poked in the eye or kicked in the nuts, you're on your own. You're either going to bite your lip and just fight it out till the end of the round, which he did, or you're going to fall over and you're going to take punches and cover up, and they're going to call the fight, and it's over like that. Well, we didn't see Derek Lewis do that tonight. We saw him push forward. And you know what? Derek Lewis wanted this fight so bad. He said in his last couple of fights that this is what he was trying to work up to. And he didn't even think that he was good enough yet. He wasn't too happy with his last two performances to think that he deserved the fight with Travis Browne. Well, guess what? He got it. Before the fight, there was a lot of beef of them two going back and forth. Derek Lewis saying that Ronda's fine. She's got a fine hiney. And also saying that Travis isn't a real man. He hits women. I love stuff like that. And Derek Lewis really cracked me up in that post-fight speech saying he's had too much sex and needs to take a little time off. I thought that was absolutely a hilarious on the post-fight speech, and saying that Ronda is fine. Come on. I mean, a lot of people, it might have rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Like, don't say that. But then again, he did mention the woman abuse thing. That's huge. That's huge in my book. So come on. Derek Lewis moving forward. I think that's his 8th knockout win in the UFC. Putting together, I think this is his 6th fight now in the UFC, I think. But you know what? I was saying this in the Odd Show. You know, that fight with Gabriel Gonzaga. That fight with Roy Nelson. I mean, everyone's saying, oh yeah, he's beat these guys, but they're all old. What? This makes me crack up because that entire division's old. You got a fresh new face like Derek Lewis and a fresh new face like Francis Ngannou. And people are saying, why don't we have them go head to head? Don't ruin it. Come on, these two are both on the rise. You have Francis Ngannou on his way up. And you have Derek Lewis on his... I don't know what I'm doing with my finger here. I got the shocker going on or something weird. Sorry about that. I got that Canadian thing kicking in. But that is not as dirty as the stuff that you heard come out of Derek Lewis in the post-fight speech. I mean, come on, what's next? The sky's the limit for this guy. This definitely proves that he has his foot in the door to fight Cain Velasquez, who, mind you, does not have an opponent right now. I do not think that they'll match it up really quick because Derek Lewis, like you said, is going to be taking a couple of months off. I was definitely most impressed with the comeback and the momentum for Lewis in that second round. Are there any holes in Lewis's game, do you guys think? Here, let's take a question from the chat room. Anhill asks, "A Black Beast didn't want to poo." Right? He said that he was holding his stomach, and of course, he hurt from those kicks to the body from Browne. Well, I don't know if you guys have been kicked in the stomach before, but that really is the feeling that you kind of get. And if you got a big old belly like Derek Lewis does, those kicks, man, are going to rearrange the food that's already sitting in there, the water. I mean, I'm sure there was an echo to every one of those kicks if you were standing octagon side. But yeah, in the post-fight speech, it says he had to go boom, boom, which I started crying. He was like, the greatest American alive. Brian Stan goes, "Well, Lewis, you're holding your stomach. Can you explain to the crowd, what those kicks felt like? What are you feeling right now? You're holding your stomach." "I got to go boom, boom. I'm trying not to go number 2. I love that. I thought that was awesome. I mean, a lot of people get in there and they get shook when the microphone's in front of them. You got the camera right in front of you, and now you got to address all your fans and thousands of people watching. And how does Derek Lewis do it? "Well, man, I got to go boom, boom. I don't want to go number 2. That's Ariel Helwani's worst fear. We've seen this in fights with like Michael Chiesa, where he said he was holding it in, almost exploded. I don't really got to bring up any other mistakes that happened in the past with fighters. We had enough of that this week between Michael Bisping shouting it out against Yoel. I will say no more about that. But what a post-fight speech from Derek Lewis. I'm excited to see what happens with him next. Are there any holes in Derek Lewis's game? Well, he likes to use the kick. We saw in his last fight, he got taken down, 6 or 7 times with that kick. Derek Lewis was eating kicks in that first round. I don't know what happened with Travis Browne. He started going in for a war. Brian Stan was saying that maybe he's trying to do this. Well, it didn't work. That was a big mistake. And then Travis Browne loading up on the punch. We see this in a lot of his fights. He'll load up and then move his head forward and get what happened. He got clipped in the top of the head and just dropped. I didn't really see it that clear. It looked like he was just like he was just exhausted, threw a punch because he was getting rocked right before that. It looked like he threw a punch and then just like lost his balance, his equilibrium went off and it just fell back. That's what I saw. Upon replay, he got clipped with the elbow, I'm pretty positive, ending the fight. Derek Lewis getting on top. A lot of people out there on Twitter saying it was a late stoppage. I got to agree. But then again, everyone's going to argue if it's a late stoppage or an early stoppage. They're only going to be happy when it's right on the nose, and so be it. I mean, this is the lives of fighters. This fight could definitely screw your head up if you're getting punched by Derek Lewis while he's freaking sitting on top of you with, 260 pounds. So every strike could do some damage. I think it was a late finish there. Let me know what you guys think in the chat room and at Pure Evil MMA on Twitter. But wow, did this capture the hearts of everyone seeing Derek Lewis make that comeback? What was your favorite fight of the night, guys? I mean, between the Santos knocks out Marshman with the spinning heel kick, I think that's getting my 50 Gs. That was the knockout of the night, and it was only the second fight of the night. Remember in the Odd Show, I was like, I'm kind of surprised seeing Santos all the way down here. Maybe he has to work his way back up. You're taking on Marshman. It was only his second fight in the UFC. I'm pretty sure maybe it was his debut. Maybe not. I'm not 100% positive. I got to go back and check. But Santos getting the spinning heel kick knockout. He gets my 50 Gs here. Let's see what we got with UFC Pick'em. If you guys want to join in on the UFC Pick'em, yep, Mike, me too. The commentator were boring, put me to sleep. I'm so happy you guys brought that up as I pull up our UFC Pick'em to announce our winners. I got to agree there. I did not like the commentating tonight. Nothing against Brian Stan. Brian Stan did great. And you guys know, I'm always fair when it comes to commentating. Usually when people are like, I didn't enjoy it, I didn't like it, I'm usually the one stepping up saying, I don't know why. I mean, I went to broadcasting school. I was trained by ESPN. I was trained by some of the OGs of ESPN, matter of fact. It just wasn't doing it for me. And the problem is, you can't get a guy going in there that doesn't know that much about our sport. Because you got a whole bunch of people listening in. Like, for instance, here we go. Derek Lewis was able to take Travis Browne down at first. The commentator, I'm not going to name names, even though I pretty much already have. Commentator goes, this is the time when this is panic mode right now for Travis Browne. Whoa. This is panic mode. Let me tell you something. If Travis Browne is on his back right now panicking because Derek Lewis is on top of him, he's losing already. He's losing right there. Veteran fighters are going to stay calm. They're going to stay relaxed, and they're going to try to get out. And Travis Browne did exactly that the first time when the commentator did say that at the time. I don't like that. Brian Sandy, he like literally shut up as soon as he said that. He probably looked next to him and just like hit him on the leg and was like, none of that, man. None of that. Let's cut that out. How about that? How about that? How about that? Yeah, not a big fan of the commentating tonight, though. If this is the idea of a dream team, you're losing your money here. I miss Goldie. Why are you getting rid of Goldie? Even not during the fights. Even him being like, this fight's brought to you by Monster or coming up next. None of that was doing it for me. His voice didn't fit, one. And I might be hard saying that, but at least this is what I really will stick by. It didn't seem like he knew that much about our sport. He's not that educated. I don't like seeing that. I mean, with the sport where it is right now, I want to see somebody like Joe Rogan, like Goldie, somebody that we've that have grown with the sport. This guy, you can't just plug anybody in and expect them to do a great job commentating. All right, let's see. I went 6 for 9 tonight. Of course, I missed my first. Let's see here. I wasn't able to get my picks in on the first two, which I actually got right. Mershart beating James, Marshman losing to Santos. Those two I actually didn't pick on UFC Pick'em, so I missed that. Shout out to Ann for reminding me. But after that, Zahabi, son I didn't mention tonight. Firas Zahabi's little brother going in there, making a huge splash. I wasn't too impressed with him. I mean, he was fighting Vieira, which was a season Ultimate Fighter winner. But he's never really impressed me in any of his fights either. I was expecting a little more from Zahabi, but rest assured it was his debut. He probably had octagon jitters and was able to come out with the win. Zahabi defeating Vieira by decision. So plus 40 points there for a UFC debut. I thought he did great there. Carlos Esparza losing to Randa Marcos in decision. Ponzinibbio, decision. Felder defeats Richie by KO at 4 minutes and 44 seconds of round number 1. I thought that was beautiful. Another finish there. Sarah McMahon finishing Mazzani in the first round. Elias Theodoro versus Ferreira. Win by decision for Elias. Got that one. Tucker getting the win over Cecilia. Plus 40 points. UFC debut. Got that one. Hector Lombard, who I went with in the co-main event, losing to Johnny Hendricks in a decision. I was expecting the fight to end a little early. Shout out to Johnny Hendricks. I was a little nervous to put my money on him on this one. Mike says you need to give... I love it. Mike says they need to give you the job as commentator because you have a great voice. Well, thank you guys so much. That is my dream. Hopefully one day I will be part of that UFC crew. What a dream that would be. But guys, I got my co-main and my main event wrong for you guys, so I'm sorry about that. However, in the odds and prediction show, I did say I wanted to, if you guys did want to make a safe bet, go for Derek Lewis on this one. I gave you my reasons why I thought Browne was going to be able to do it. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to tonight. And Hector Lombard, I thought it was going to end in the first round. Johnny Hendricks having a really tough time as of late, but he showed me and the rest of you guys out there, he looks great in this weight class, and he's happy. And that's what I want to see. You want to see the best Johnny Hendricks, you get a happy Johnny Hendricks. You don't want to get a frustrated, overweight Johnny Hendricks. Because let's not forget, when he started as a fighter, he didn't have a kid. He didn't have a wife. He didn't have any of this. Now he has to do dad. He has to do go in there and train, travel. There's a lot that comes with it. Shout out to Johnny Hendricks moving up a weight class and getting the win, especially beating somebody like Hector Lombard in this weight division. Well, that does it for our UFC Halifax recap show. If there's anything I missed, guys, and let me know who you think should be a fight of the night winner. Like I said, I really enjoyed the Santos spinning heel kick. I would love to see if Paul Felder got 50K as well. And he actually told me really quick, guys, during my interview with Paul Felder the other day before this fight, he was in the room with Duke Rufus. And if you guys didn't know this about Paul, he likes to celebrate by going home and having some beers, not just Bud Light, not Miller Lite, but actual real beers kind of Maker's Brand beer. So he told me that he's going to be walking around Halifax. So if you're around the area, go check out, see where Paul Felder's walking around with Duke. They're going to be trying out some beers walking around Halifax. I hope you guys all enjoyed your night here with Pure Evil MMA and UFC Halifax. I'm Evil Eddie from Pure Evil MMA, frontproofmedia.com. I want to thank everybody that joined in the chat room. This will be up tomorrow morning on Apple, iTunes, Podbean.com, followed by the rest of our show. I just spoke with Dave the Caveman Rickles. So enjoy the freaking show tomorrow morning on your way to work, whether you're going to the gym early in the morning tomorrow, whether you are on your way to a stag in the morning, or at night. Doesn't matter what time of day or night. Pure Evil MMA is the way to go. We have some great guests coming on this week, and we always have great guests every week. Between UFC fighters, we have members of the week. Oh my God, I'm an idiot. How did I almost forget our UFC Pick'em winner? Huh? How about that? All right, so tonight, let's see what we got for the Pure Evil Army UFC Pick'em. I'm not going to say the overall because I will be discussing that on the show later. Well, will you look at this? I'm not surprised. First place, Louis vs. Browne, going to pretty much our co-host of the night, Ann Hill, who's in the chat room right now. Congratulations, Ann. You came in first. In second, Disturbed MMA with 2,910 points. Third place, Genuine Geo. Fourth, Leslie. Fifth, Mike, Into the Storm. Sixth, Mean Gene from Mean Gene's Fight Scene. Shout out. Seventh place, Pat. Eighth, Yusuf. Ninth, Wicked Ways. And 10th place, Shelly. Guess where I freaking fall on this one? I fell on 14th place, but only because I missed the first two fights. So I'm gonna blame that. Not the fact that I didn't get the main event right. Not the fact that I missed the co-main event, but the fact that I missed the two first fights of the night. I hope you guys had a great night. I'm Evil Eddie from Pure Evil MMA, frontproofmedia.com. Make sure you guys use hashtag @PureEvilMMA, or that doesn't make sense. Hashtag Pure Evil MMA if you want to talk with us tonight, tomorrow, the next day, or next weekend's fights. We're going to be talking about UFC 209 coming up this week. Enjoy the night. I'm Evil Eddie from Pure Evil MMA, frontproofmedia.com. Behave yourselves.